Sometimes there's a delay in when it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, here we go. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adult Child of Dysfunction. Today we have with us Susan Willoughby, and this is going to be such a fun one. Susan is an Equus coach, a truth teller, and reinvention expert, helping women over 40 ditch the burnout, trust their gut, and live boldly with horses as their guides. I love this sentence too. She turns midlife meh into powerful, purposeful change. Welcome, Susan. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Tammy, for having me on.
You are very welcome. So I'm just going to jump right into it because I love my daughter. First of all, my daughter loves horses. I actually got thrown from an Arabian. Thought I was going to ride this hardly ever been ridden horse when I was about 12 years old and got thrown. Well, didn't even get thrown. Got tossed, foot caught in the stirrup, kicked about
Oof.
18 times. Didn't get back on a horse until, oh gosh, when I went horseback riding like 35, 40 years later. So, but my daughter absolutely loves horses. And I watched her, and what she wanted to do was work with autistic children
Mhm.
through horses. And I
Right.
thought, how crazy, like what's good therapy? I watch on TikTok all these videos of people like little kids hugging their horses and children with Down syndrome just like feeling the energy. And so I'm enthralled, but I know absolutely nothing about the topic. So I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah.
So what exactly is Equus coaching? Let's start there.
Yeah. So Equus Coaching is a partnership with my equine counterparts to work in tandem to help clients realize their own potential, their own answers, and everything that lies within them. So horses act as a sort of a feedback loop, you might say, because I'm watching the horse's behavior as they're interacting with the client. And that gives me some really valuable information on how to ask really good open ended coaching questions and get to sort of the crux of the issue or what somebody's really struggling with rather than what they're telling me they're struggling with through their connection with the horse. So that's
So
it in a nutshell.
right. And I'm sure it's way more complicated than
Yeah.
that. And is it tell me, I mean, why? Do horses have a spiritual kind of instinctual vibe, kind of like dogs do? Just
Different. Yes,
okay.
and it's one of those yes and answers. Horses, because they are prey animals, right? Our dogs are predators, right? Their
Right.
eyes are in the front of their head. Horses are prey animals. So everything about their being is about survival. All of the information that they take in through all of their senses, including every cell of their skin, they can sense a little tiny fly on their butt and just twitch that little area of skin to get it off. But they're taking in information constantly and they're processing it because they want to know, am I safe? Is this thing or this person or this other horse going to be a threat to me? Or is there some predator that's stalking me? So they're taking in information all the time. And when they do that, and when they communicate with their herd members, because they're also herd animals, they have this beautiful nonverbal communication with the other members of their herd. And when we are in their bubble, their space, we're one of the herd members. And so they're assessing, from a point of, heart connection, biorhythms, they're sensing what is coming from inside of us, not the face that we present to the world. They don't even
Right.
see that. They connect with us on a much deeper level. So when you were talking about autistic children or children with, special needs. I mean, that's how I kind of got started connecting horses with humans back when I was a teenager, working at a summer camp for individuals with special needs. Horses connect on a way that individuals that may not be able to communicate through autism or whatever, that are nonverbal, can connect with the horse in a beautiful way because the horse does not understand. We can talk to the horse all day long, but a nonverbal person communicates with the horse on a different level. So when horses are communicating with us or taking in information from us, it's all at a deep, physical level. So they can get us out of our heads and into our bodies. So many amazing things. So that's kind of a broad brush
Yeah,
answer.
no, I mean, I think all of this is going to be a big, the big picture kind of just
Yeah,
generalization because I don't know. Yeah, I
yeah.
do, it's kind of, but I feel like it's almost like, I mean, a horse, to me, I feel like it's almost like I said, like my dog knows when I'm sick. I don't have to say I
Mhm.
don't feel good. She
Right.
senses it and she reacts to that. So
Hmm.
what are some, like, what would give me an example of, let's say you're working with a client
Hmm.
and that client is really torn up, like just really, really distraught. What are some things you would look for in the horse to where those aware that would make you aware? Because you
Yeah.
said you kind of use the horse's cues to see what's really going on.
Yes. So I would have had a conversation with the client, and there may be something that they're working on. I don't know if it's grief or if it's something else. Now, I'm not a licensed therapist, so I don't work with deep trauma. However, if someone has been in a trauma situation and is working through that with a therapist, they may come to have a little bit more of a deeper connection, or get over a plateau or something. So if someone comes and they're having some emotional things that they're dealing with, whatever that is in their life, maybe divorce, maybe something else. Who knows, right? Whatever it is, uh, it depends on how they're presenting and what they're actually feeling. So by working with the horse, they may have been pushing all of these feelings or this emotional whatever it is that they're dealing with, they may have been pushing it down. The horse can, through the pure essence of being a horse. And that's the thing, they don't need any special training. They're just sensing, processing, and reacting in accordance to what the other herd mate, in this sense, it would be the client, is feeling and how what's going on inside their body. So people may not quite understand, right? Because we spend a lot of time in our heads, let's face it.
Right.
Yeah. They're walking around and we're just like a head bobbing around. The horses, because they're present in every moment of their existence, force us to be as well. So
Okay.
they help us get grounded, they help us get back in our bodies. And so if I see a client that is expressing some emotion or something, I will ask them how they're feeling. And if they come back with a word, I'll ask them again, what are you feeling? Where is this thing coming from in your body? And what does it feel like? And that takes a minute. If you've
Mm-hmm.
not been processing your emotions and your, all of the things that have happened to you, on that level, it's going to take a minute. And it could also just open a floodgate, literally and
Right.
figuratively. And the horse, if they don't care what you're going through, they don't care if you're scared, they don't care if you're mad, they don't care if you're whatever. What they care about is if you're being honest and if you're being congruent.
Hmm.
And if you're putting up one facade, I like, because that's basically what it is. If you're putting up this facade or this wall, the horse may keep its distance because it doesn't feel safe. It's
Mm-hmm.
sensing that there's incongruency in how you are presenting and what is really going on. So by, observing where the horse is and how they're reacting with the human, I can say, okay, what are you feeling? What is this thing that, where in your body do you feel this? And once they can sort of let go, relax, get grounded, and let some of that guard fall away, the horse will be more willing to interact. And then they can, the horse may come over and just stand by them. The horse
Hmm.
may, come up and, put their head on their shoulder. It just depends.
So it's a
So
big, huge form of muscle testing.
A little
You're
bit, yeah,
using the horse. You're using the
right.
horse's muscles. So I mean that makes sense. So I guess because like you said, they are prey, so they are in survive not in survival mode, but they are geared
Yeah,
to be intuitive. I mean, that's how they're wired. That's how they're
exactly.
born completely
Yep.
intuitive. And that's interesting.
They
So if you go,
process
so
information very quickly. They take it in, they let it go. They take it in, they let it go. As long as they're like safe, not safe, safe, not safe, threat, not threat.
interesting. So
Yeah.
if somebody comes up to them and they go to like hug them and they've got a big old smile and they're like angry inside, that horse might could back up or stiffen or
hmm Yeah.
so those are kind of the signals you're looking for or
Yeah, and I also teach people how to like approach the horse in a way that because
right.
you're it's how you're showing up in a relationship because this is what it is. It's a relationship with this animal, with this creature, with this being. And how you show up with the horse is probably going to be how you show up in relationship anywhere.
Interesting.
hmm
Very interesting. I always wondered, like that's like I said, I know why, but now that clears up so many hundreds of questions I've had throughout the years about why
So
people,
happy to do that.
you know, well, thank you for that.
Hmm.
So what does a session look like with you? What is that? How do you walk through like just the basics, obviously, not the whole
Yeah,
thing.
a one-on-one session would be the client, myself, and the horse. And the client and the horse are in a round pen, usually if one is available, or a smaller enclosed arena, so that the horse is free to walk around. The horse doesn't have a bridle or a saddle or anything. There's no riding involved. The horse is at liberty, free to move about at will. And then, I obviously go through a safety demo because I want people to feel safe
Right,
and show them a couple of ways that they can interact with the horse if they want to try and move the horse. It just gives them something else to think about. So it's not
right,
about the task, it's not about the activity. It just gives them some ways to interact. And then as they're interacting with the horse, I'm watching the horse's behavior. I'm watching the person's behavior, what they're saying, because let's face it, we like to talk because we have mouths and right. So
right,
they may be talking a blue streak to the horse. The horse is like, whatever. Uh, and then that gives me the opportunity to, someone may have set an intention for the session, or sometimes I like it to just be organic and see maybe, just a broad topic that they want to explore. And then I let them explore and I let them interact with the horse and see what comes up and see how the horse is reacting to their interaction and how they're showing up and how the horse is showing up. And I'm outside of the conversation. So I'm just observing. And I may at some point interact and say, what's coming up for you? Because I'm watching the horse and I want to know if the person understands or can sense and especially can feel what is happening to them in a specific moment. Like if the horse all of a sudden breaks contact and walks away, I may say, what just happened there? What,
right.
what just how did that relationship break away? You didn't send the horse away. The horse just decided to disconnect. And they're like,
Mm.
oh, well, whatever. They may come up with like, I started thinking about something, or I started feeling a certain way, so it's very simple, it's very organic, and it's also very powerful.
Yeah, so how does it work for like stress relief? Do people come is it just because a horse is calming or is it because there's like this reciprocating back and forth energy?
Yes, and all of the above.
I know I'm
Uh,
asking a lot of questions in one thing because I'm learning a lot. This is really
yeah.
intriguing to me. I love this.
So for stress relief, I mean, where does stress come from? Where does it originate? Is it, where in our body is it showing up? And the horses can be really helpful with that. Um, Releasing, allowing people to build an awareness of what's going on inside them rather than just spiraling off in some, story thought, spin out. Oh, once you get, because it's like a domino effect, right? Once you start thinking about something, then you start thinking about that and that and that and that and that, and
Hmm.
then before you know it, you're like a off to the races with some crazy thought that you had. Uh,
Right.
so the horses can help to break that thought pattern and get you back in your body and start thinking about, how do I feel? Let me take a beat and think about how I feel before I react, before I spin out, before I have an anxiety attack, before I get all balled up and stressed out, because sometimes you can just be so wound so tightly that if you knock your coffee over in the morning, well, that's it. My day is ruined. The rest
Mhm.
of the day is just going to be crap, and all of that. This kind of, like, oh, I spilled my coffee. I guess I got to make another cup. Let me clean this up, and
Right.
so it can help calm your nervous system and give you some tools to start to build that awareness, like the horse, right? I would say be the horse. When something causes the horse to startle out in the pasture, they're going to look around, they're going to listen, they're going to, they're going to take a moment to be like, okay, what's going on? And if their heart starts racing, if, whatever, what does that feel like? How can I take that physical information and process it in a way that will inform my next move, that will inform my reaction? So
Mm,
it really does. If you're
interesting.
thinking, if you're acting, processing things physically, it gives you that moment to, because if somebody makes you mad, if somebody, upsets you, you feel it.
Right.
And most of us don't take the time to, they just react. You just react. You're like, you hurt my feelings, or, whatever. And
Right.
you lunge at them. Um, this gives us a moment to, build those awareness skills and start to feel before we react.
Right. And I can see too, it kind of works like the other way around too, because if I'm with a horse and I'm hugging his head and I'm talking to him or I'm just thinking whatever, and then all of a sudden he tenses, then
Mhm.
you're right, like it's like I have to think about why did he do that? Like
Mhm.
so that is part, I guess is that the basic gist of part of how it works too? Because I'm picturing
Yes,
me being with the horse. Like if the horse all of a sudden backs away, I'm being like, okay, what's going on with me here that that I'm
right,
scaring this horse?
right.
Like what, because now by this
What
point, I'm sure
changed
that,
inside me, right?
right,
Did
right. And
did all
because
of a
I'm sure
sudden,
you, oh, sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, because you're right. It may something physically changed inside you that, you weren't aware of, because in that moment when you were close to the horse, it may have triggered something inside you that you're kind of unaware of, right? But you're like, oh, well, now I feel like this kind of icky feeling in my gut, or
Mm,
my heart's, my chest feels pressure. Why am I feeling that? So it makes you curious. Like if the horse is gonna move away from you, it must have been pretty intense, because
yeah.
otherwise, that they may feel it before you feel it.
It's, yeah, well, exactly. And,
Before you understand it. Yeah.
right. And I'm just kind of now like really getting into the whole energetic thing. So I mean
Hmm.
it makes sense. Like it makes total sense. And it's like the horse is this huge 300, I don't know how much a horse weighs, but 300 or 400 pound empath. Like
1,200, 1,200 pounds,
1,200 pounds.
1,000 to
Okay.
1200. Yeah. In that
Whoa, that's a
area.
big
Yeah.
horse. Yeah,
Yes.
no, okay. So I have no idea how much I guess that makes sense. But yeah, so that, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So you work with mostly people over 40. Is it just because that's kind of when you reinvented yourself, or is it just kind of the age where you realize how many people are in this stuckness?
Yeah. Yeah. I've reinvented myself so many times over the years. But I think that women, especially in that midlife, and that can be anywhere from 35 to 70, whatever, uh,
Hmm.
w- have this period where they start questioning their current identity, and they may have spent so much time as, a mom, a caregiver, take whatever, being in corporate America, and they're like, is this all there is? And what am I going to do with the next phase of my life? They may be looking at retirement, they may, so I feel that it is that time of questioning
Right.
what's next. And that is a difficult time, because I also think that sometimes women feel when they reach a certain age that they become invisible, and that they're not seen the same way, or not seen at all. And don't feel like they have much worth, or well, I'll just sort of fade into the abyss, and it doesn't really matter. But it's a
Well, they're
time of
yeah.
reinvention. It's,
You,
it's like it's a time to reassess things and be, what else? What can I do? Let's get curious. Let's get, build that awareness, build that curiosity, and think about what you could, feel into what you could do next.
right. So what do you tell those people that are absolutely just terrified to make changes to, because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, 40s is a good example because a lot of people, their kids just went off to college or,
Hmm.
they're empty nesters. They're not a mom, quote unquote, not a mom anymore. That's not their job. That's not their identity. So they
Hmm.
kind of lose that. What do you say and how do you help people through the I'm afraid to make changes kind of stage?
I think everybody's afraid to make a change, no matter what it is. And that's just fear of the unknown. And I think the other big thing about it is that if you have been so focused and so wrapped up in your identity as whatever, mom, corporate executive, whatever it
Hmm.
is, that you don't know what is on the other side of that. So it's scary. And the biggest fear, the biggest thing that's scary is, like I said, the unknown. The other thing is, if you're going to try something new, nobody likes to look like a beginner. Nobody likes to, it's like, I don't want to, I'm going to look stupid. My friends are going to think I'm crazy. It's all about other people's perceptions, which is a
Hmm.
beautiful thing about the horses because they don't judge.
They don't care.
They don't
Mhm.
care. So if you want to, experiment, think about like, I am going to skip around the arena, or I'm going to, just sort of let my hair down and enjoy myself and explore what might bring passion to me. The horse will be like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it. Let's be true to yourself.
Right, because
So
they're feeling the positivity and the joy in that, not the weirdness
yeah,
and
they're
not
not going to
the
judge you. They're not
they're
going to
not
judge
judging you.
you. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think I'd say, back to your question, what do I tell people? I was like, take off your identity glasses, put on your I'm looking at things through beginner eyes, and remember how much fun it is to actually learn something new or to try something new. It can be very exciting and very invigorating, and put the fear aside. If you try something, and the other thing is, I think people think, oh, if I do this thing, I'm going to have to put in the 10,000 hours. I'm going to have to be,
Mm.
expert at that. And you're not. I mean, I've done a lot of things, learning to fly a
What?
plane, learning to play polo at 63. I mean, these are all things that, if you do it, great. If you just try it and enjoy the experience, that is in itself beautiful. If you can just let go and enjoy the experience, it doesn't matter how silly you look, uh, or whatever. Nobody's going to judge you. And if they do, that's on them. That's not your thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. I love though that you said that the horses they don't judge, they don't care, and
Yeah.
they're feeling the energy, which is making them feel safe and making you feel safe.
Hmm.
So, or them, the women feel safe. Um, what do you talk to about your clients, or what are some things with your clients that are like breakthroughs that they've had while dealing with the horses? Are there, give me a couple examples because I'm very intrigued with this. Like some things
Yeah.
that they found out about themselves or discovered about themselves just because they were with this gigantic, joyful animal.
uh, s- a lot of times, some of the things maybe, women especially tend to be people pleasers, right?
Hmm.
And making sure everybody else is taken care of and not taking care of themselves. So that in and of itself is an issue with boundaries and saying no. And horses are very good at testing and pushing your boundaries and
Mm.
helping you be aware that you have a boundary issue. For example, someone may be interacting with the horse and the horse is very close to them and keeps getting closer. And at first, I may say, so how does that feel? oh, the client may say, oh, that's great. They're just being snuggly. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. And
Right.
the horse may, get to the point where they're nudging them with their head or they're nibbling at their jacket or something else. And they may just get to the point where they're just being a little pushy. And I'll ask again, how does that feel now? Or how does that feel? And
Mm.
then they're like, not so good. It feels a little invasive. Oh, okay. What can you
So,
do?
right.
And what can you do to change that scenario? Well, I don't want to hurt the horse's feelings. Oh,
Mm. Oh.
okay. That's an interesting response,
Red flag. Yeah,
right?
that's a very yes, and that's exactly what I would expect as a response. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt the horse's feelings. I don't want to send the horse away. I don't want to push the horse away because they think maybe the horse won't come back and snuggle when they actually want it to.
Mm.
And so we'll go through some exercises about, creating safe and healthy boundaries. So that's a really good one. And that comes
Yeah,
up a lot
I'm sure.
because horses are
I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, I'm gonna test your boundaries for sure. Another one, might be something like, people are transferring their stuff onto the horse. Uh, the horse may be for no other reason, not that they don't feel safe or anything else,
Sorry.
but
Sorry, my dog is barking.
Mhm.
No. Hold on 1 second. Molly, stop. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
My dog.
Yeah.
Love her. So,
And there
oh,
she
go ahead.
goes.
I'm sorry.
So another one is that, transferring of what you're feeling and things that are bothering you onto the horse. Like it's the horse is doing this. So for example, if the horse is just being a horse over in the corner of the arena, the person may immediately start talking about the horse. The
Right.
horse doesn't like me. The horse
Mm.
is bored. The horse is ignoring me. The horse is this. The horse is that.
So it's everybody
Interesting.
else's fault but theirs.
Tell me more about that, right? Why do you feel that? Well, the horse is standing over there in the corner and they're not coming right up to me and they're not, and they're not interacting with me and they're not, oh, okay. Tell me more,
Mm.
right? Why do you feel that? Why do you feel like the horse is ignoring you? Well, he's just standing over there, and so it begins. Does that
Right.
how does that translate to you on a regular basis? And then they're like, oh, yeah.
So it's
Could, yeah,
oh
could,
wow.
yeah. So it's like, then they realize that this is how they feel in real life. And they feel that people don't like them. They feel that, so of course, that you're going to internalize all those things and put up walls so that you're going to push people away because you already assume that they're not going to like you or that you're boring or that you're whatever. So it's not about the
Wow.
horse.
Yeah, I mean it's just like a great big I mean
Mirror. It's like a big
this
mirror.
mirror exactly. I was going to say and not only that but like it's like okay, so then when you explain, "Hey, this is how horses work. They're feeding off your energy."
Hmm.
They're like maybe the horses, and then you open yourself to a whole can of worms of you have to be self-aware. You have no choice at this point because I came here to play with this horse and the horse doesn't even like me. So what, it's oh my goodness, it's just
Complicated. We're
it's very
complicated.
complicated, but yet the big picture of it is kind of simple
It
in a
is really
way.
simple. Yeah.
I mean, it is really simple. I mean, the
Horses teach
horses.
you to take responsibility for yourself. They teach you to
Hmm.
be more aware of what's actually going on with you. The thing is, like I said, horses are just information processors. I mean,
Right.
if they take things in and they process them and then they let them go. And that's the other big takeaway that we can get from horses is they don't typically hang on to things. Now, have horses can horses hold on to trauma? Absolutely. If
Yeah.
they've been abused or neglected or whatever. So it may take a long time to reconnect with that horse and bring that horse back into themselves where they feel safe and they feel comfortable, just like humans.
Right.
Um, but they're really good at getting a message from another individual in their herd and getting like, okay, I got you. I will not eat your hay anymore because you just kicked me in the butt. So
Right.
they're not going to then, go back to their other herd mates and be like, you know, Sally over there kicked me in the butt and now she's just ignoring me and blah 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 and making up this whole story about that incident, right? And then relating it and building on it and just living in that loop. They're just like, okay, I know Sally's gonna push me off the hay pile.
Right.
I gotta go find my own hay pile.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Message received.
Right, right. So if people are listening to this and people are like, wow, this sounds amazing.
Mhm,
Um, I've never heard of an Equus coach.
mhm.
Are there a lot of you out there?
There are, and actually, I mean, depending on what area you're in. So I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I
Okay.
also have retreats periodically in various places, in California and so forth. But we do also have a database on our website, Center for Equus Coaching, if you're looking for someone in your area. You can also Google Equus coaching or equine assisted coaching to find someone who does this type of connection with horses uh, near you.
Okay. And would you suggest getting familiar with horses in general before you try to do this so that you don't
No,
go in and
no,
petrified? No?
no, not necessarily. Because when you're with the horse, if you're scared, it's okay. The whoever the practitioner is going to teach you some safe interactions and show you how to be safe. And they're also not going to let you get, hurt. And
Right,
if you do have a fear of horses, that's okay. Maybe you just start out by brushing the horse and being close to the horse. That is a
right.
huge interaction right there because that in and of itself will calm your nervous system.
I was going to
Because,
say just yeah, just like petting a dog or they say
yeah.
snuggle with your dog, it drops your cortisol levels by like
Mhm.
20%.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's lots of ways that you can be with horses that it's not scary or threatening. No one's going to put you in harm's way or have you interact with a horse that's unsafe.
That's amazing. So if you had to sum up all of your jobs, all of your experiences, I mean, I'm looking at your thing and you've been a DJ, a comic, a pilot, a coach, like you do all kinds of stuff. How would you put that into one big package? I mean, how does that shape you like to work with your clients?
Yeah, I'm
You've done a lot.
curious. I'm I and it's out of curiosity. It's out of exploration. It's out of just being like I want to explore that thing that is has come it's about being open. And I think if you're open, you're going to have more things presented to
Mm,
you and when you're open, you can be more aware of what's coming into your your
mm,
realm, your bubble, your whatever. Expand that bubble. Be expansive, be curious, explore and build some awareness and don't be afraid to try new things with beginner eyes, even if it's something very routine that you do, like drive to a certain place, take a different route, open your eyes and be like, oh, or take the same route and just notice one thing that you have never noticed before or that you've just taken for granted. I think if we start looking at life as an experience, uh, it's a lot healthier way to go through life. So I've had a lot of experiences that I just love, and you know, it's all
yep.
good.
And good, bad, ugly. I mean, you got to learn how to navigate them all.
It's the journey. Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
journey. So tell people how they can work with you, how they can find out about you, where they go to talk to you.
Yeah, that's great. You can go to my website, willoughbycoaching.com. I'm also on Instagram at Sue_Willoughby. And if you like, you can check out my podcast, Midlife Strategies for Badass Women.
Okay, and all of that will be in the show notes. And you also said you had something that you would like to offer, something
Yeah.
fun.
Yes.
Tell us about that because it's kind of off the topic of horses. It's not
It
about
is
any of
off the
that, but it's
topic of horses, but it does go along with
mhm.
coaching and personal development and professional development. I have over a decade of real estate experience, and I love podcasting. It has been such an amazing way for me to connect with people all over the world. So I love it, being both as a guest and a host. And I wanted to open that up to real estate agents. And so I have created a limited series podcast called Podcasting for Real Estate Pros. And it's 21 really short episodes to walk you through the process of creating a podcast and using it as a marketing tool. So while it may be geared a little bit towards real estate agents, anybody in the entrepreneurial space or any midlife person, woman, whatever, if you're thinking about creating a podcast, go give it a listen. It's on Apple, Spotify. It's called Podcasting for Real Estate Pros. There's also it's free. It's a downloadable resource. I've got a workbook that walks you through, gives you actionable steps to actually create a podcast in 21 episodes. So it's a pretty fun little adventure.
Very cool. And can I put that in the show notes too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, well, this was fun, Sue. I really, like I said, I came into this completely curious and ready to learn, and I learned a whole lot. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I love talking about horses and how cool they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could, you're not off the hook yet, though. So if you could give the audience one tip, trick, strategy, or words of wisdom from Sue Willoughby, what would it be?
Well, I think it's kind of that same theme that I've been talking about the whole time is be curious. ABC, always be curious. Be curious about your surroundings. Be curious about what you're feeling. Be curious about what lights you up. Be curious about what makes you react and why.
Mm,
So, ABC,
always
always be curious.
ABC. I love that. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And for everybody else out there listening, you heard it. Go check her out and learn more about this because it is absolutely fascinating. And check her out. And you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you back next week.